Learn GitLab, and inside of it, you'll see this README. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So there's a bunch of tutorials. It's contained in an issue, and there's certain tasks you have to complete. You can view them by going to up here. We have issues, and you can view them as a list or as Kanban boards. And you complete each tutorial by working through the open list. When you complete it, you can drag the issue card to the closed list, and then you move on to the next one. You can also do this in just regular lists, and you can just mark them as closed. So issues is the main way that GitLab really kind of creates community well, not community involvement, but like what's that word called? Collaboration. Why can't I think of the word collaboration? It's the way it creates collaboration. You open an issue to talk about what's going on in the code and what you want to change and what you want to do differently, etc., etc. So if you don't need it, you can delete it here in the settings, but I just want to take a second and sort of just go through what we're looking at here. So first off, when you're in a project like we are, collapse that. Up top, you've got the icon, the name of it, a project ID. It'll tell you how many commits, how many branches there are, how many tags, and how much storage you're using and how much is in the files. Up here is where you can switch branches. You can see that this is old. We made the main branch, the default branch is now main. I can actually change that really quickly, very easily. So let's add a new branch. I'm gonna call this one main, based on master. I'm gonna go here to branches, go to the project settings, and in project settings, I can change what the default branch is. I believe in you. Come on, there we go. Okay, and I can just change the default to main. From now on, starting with GitLab 14, or possibly 14.1, which just released on the 22nd, 5 days ago, the default branch will be main automatically on newly created stuff. So let's go back here to the repo. And, oh no, we gotta go back to branches. And now that main is the default, you can see it's marked as default. Master is protected, but I am the maintainer of this project, so I can delete the protected branch. There we go. You'll notice that main on this particular project is not protected, and that's okay. And because it's just me in here, no one else has access. Like here, if you go to members, just me. That's it around. Right? And I'm the owner. I'm not even a maintainer. I'm the owner. So no one else is going to get in here. Let me make sure it's private real quick. It should be. Yeah, it's private, so no one can even find it. If you have a public one, you can, of course, it's very smart to protect your branches and keep anything from happening to them. It also keeps people who have lower access levels from being able to make unapproved changes. So that's really useful as well. So go back to main page here. So now we're on main. This is where you can add a file or upload a file if you got it on your local machine. You can create a new branch. You can create a new tag. This is the web IDE. So if I wanted to work with some files in here, in an IDE, I can click this and it opens it up as like a small IDE right in my browser. It gives me the files right here, a UI for committing to the Git, which is fantastic. New file, upload file, new folder, all that stuff. Let's look in the README here. Oh yeah, you can see it's written in Markdown. Little preview tab right here. Everything you need is right in the browser. It's fantastic. Let's go back. One of the things we don't have here is the CI/CD, but because this is Learning GitLab, I would bet we're going to add one later. So they told us in the README to go to issues in the left sidebar. So here's issues, and here it is as a list. Shows me all of the things I have to do. in order to finish. And then we've got boards, which will show me this is what's open. This is what you need to do, and then close. And you can click and drag things into the closed one, which is fantastic. I mean, it's just really well organized. Personally, I prefer the list. Sometimes I'm visually oriented, but I usually like a list better than the visual Kanban boards. But I have used Kanban boards before too. All right, so right here, it's sign up for GitLab. And to be honest, I already did that because, like, look, there's my profile. So this one is done. I already did it. I did what I was supposed to do. I gave it a thumbs up, and I'm gonna click close issue. This issue's now closed, which means it still exists, but we don't have to worry about it anymore. It moves to a different area. You would hope, right, Adrian? Right? All right, let's go back to our list. Number 2, create or import your code into your project, into the repo. You've already created your group and project within GitLab. Review the hierarchy. Once you're within your project, you can easily create or import repositories. So with GitLab groups, you can assemble related projects together, grant members access to several projects at once. So for instance, at work, I'm a part of the community relations group and the education subgroup. And the community relations group gives me access to everything in there. And of course, the education one, that's more specific to mine and my manager's goals and projects. You can also have subgroups, like it says. Projects, one or multiple projects for hosting a code base. Use it as an issue tracker. Collaborate on code and build, test, and deploy with built-in GitLab CI/CD, which we'll probably talk more about later. All right, you can also import an existing repository by providing the Git URL. So for instance, let's say you're on GitHub and you're making a move to GitLab. It's pretty easy to do so. So check it out. We're gonna do projects in the top navigation bar, then click your projects. Select the project you created, then select repository. Once on the repository page, you can select the plus icon to add or import files, and you can review full documentation on creating repositories in GitLab. All of this stuff is made in Markdown. If I click edit, you can see this is all written in Markdown in the issue, and it automatically creates this beautiful, nicely organized, pretty stuff. Okay, so to show you what they're talking about, click projects and then click your projects. This is all different now. Since GitLab 14, instead of having projects up here, it's all under menu. So in projects, let's look at your new favorite poem, which is the website I build with Brandon Minnick. So what I did is I added this from GitHub. I was able to import it. And it's got everything I need. It's got my README, which is down here, all nice and organized. It's got git ignore. It's got all my files. So if you look in here, you can see my pages. Look at, yeah, index. And let's say I needed to fix something real quick, like just like I made a small spelling mistake. I can just edit this file, the CSHTML file here, or I can open it in a web IDE. And yeah, Adrian, GitLab does have its own flavor of Markdown. I don't know what the specific differences are, but I think it's based on Cramdown, if I remember correctly. But let me do a little more research. GitLab flavored Markdown. Because I know we can tag like issues and we can like add stuff to it. So yeah, we have our own. And here's the docs for that. So that was just an example of showing what I need. So let's do, if I need pretend I need a whole new project. Go to my profile. Let's go to my, I have a group. Oh, PJ Awesome group. let's say I wanted to create a new project. New project. Blank. There's templates. I can import a project, and I can get it right from GitHub. And as long as you authenticate with GitHub and connect it to your GitHub account, that's it. So I've already done this before because I did my importing earlier. So let's say I wanted to bring the hello world. Literally the first thing I ever did. It'd be like, import that, please. And it'll automatically put it into GitLab as a new project. Which is great. Got some old stuff on there that I need to delete. Mechanical carry, Badiana. All of that is included in Divas Live now, so I don't need the old stuff. Keeping them in sync is, I don't know. And that would be, I think you just import it and then you've got them separated. I wonder. That's a really good question, Adrian. Apparently you can. Here's an article that links to the docs. For me, like what I did is instead of like keeping them synced, I just moved it to GitLab and now I just exclusively do it in my GitLab stuff. But having that option to mirror and sync and having multiple repos is a good idea, and people much smarter than me had already thought of that, and you are much smarter than me and thought of it as well. So appreciate that. That's great. You're a plant. I'm going to tell everyone that you're a plant in the audience here to ask me good questions. It is a little biased, maybe. Maybe I'm a little... I might be just a little bit biased. I don't know. There's maybe one group that I prefer over the other, but I couldn't begin to tell you why. I'm not sure. Okay. So that's how to import, and again, like I imported that hello world. I can go menu projects, go to your projects. Woohoo. And hello world. And this is a hello world I wrote in C#, I think. If it's even there. It might still be importing that big C# file. Oh, this is, yeah, just me making my first... When you start in GitHub, it's like, make a hello world by just introducing yourself, so it's not even code, it's just a README file. Alright, let's go back to Learn GitLab. And let's head to the issues. And again, you can collapse this, and the only reason it's like that is because I'm zoomed in. If you're at normal, it's always open, so you can see everything that's over here. You can look at merge requests, which are called pull requests in GitHub, CI/CD here, and when you hover, it gives you some options as well. But I don't have any CI/CD right now because I haven't set it up. So let's go back to the repo, and let's zoom in again. So I already did this. I completed all my tasks. It even shows you if you have tasks inside of it, it creates this right there. Marked it all, imported files, and it's closed. We are moving right along, aren't we, folks? All right, create/import issues to collaborate on ideas and plan work. But as you can see, I already did this one before. So issues allow you and your team to discuss proposals before and during implementation. They can be used for a variety of other purposes, customized to your needs and workflow. They're always associated with a specific project. So when you make an issue, it needs to be within that specific project. There is also something called epics, but that's a like ultimate GitLab thing. So unless you're at a company that's paying for the ultimate licenses, you're probably not going to be working with epics mostly. So if you have multiple projects in a group, you can view issues at the group level as well, and you can review this issue documentation everywhere. Well, not everywhere, but specifically at this link. But we're good. Existing issues or tickets, you can import them as long as they are formatted as a CSV file, and there's an import process for that. So reasons to have this is to discuss the implementation of a new idea, to track tasks. I know that my boss and I use it when we've got an idea. For instance, DJ, you should probably host a Twitch show where you introduce GitLab to people and talk about how to use it. I was like, okay, but what would that format look like? And all of this takes place inside of an issue in comments. So you can have designs here, you can do that. You can have, you can see all recent activity. Then down here, you can make comments. So as you can see, Markdown and quick actions are supported. We have some specific quick actions related to GitLab that are pretty cool. We do have... There's one that's like a shrug. Where is it? Yeah. Just shrug comment. Actually, let me try that right now. And comment. Boop. I love you, internet. I love you so much. All right. So yeah, you can do your comments and you do a back and forth, and then eventually, once you've either completed the task the issue is for, or it's no longer relevant, or for instance, you can have milestones attached to them. Once the milestone's passed, you can close it. Let's close that. All right. So when you go to projects, you pick a project. You can select issues. You can make new issues very easily. If you're looking at the full list, there's just a blue new issue button. Boop. All of this stuff. Let's go over making a new issue, actually. It's pretty straightforward. So, hey, big blue button. Here's a title. You can have what are called templates. And that would show up here, but because this project doesn't have any templates right now, none are showing up. So normally this drop down says issue like bug report, for instance, and so you can see add description templates to help your contributors communicate effectively, and this takes you to what you can do, and you can read more. All right, so you would make your title. What's your description? You can assign it to somebody. I usually assign it to myself. To make sure that it shows up for me, because when it's assigned to you, it shows up here under the issues link, and it shows up as a little like, whoop, you have a issue here. This is merge request there. If you have a merge request that you're responsible for, it pops up there. And then to-do list. We'll talk more about to-do lists later on. You can make it confidential. You can add a milestone right here. You can add labels, and you can make a due date. And then you would just create it and it would show up. So we just finished that. We know all about issues now, so we can close it. Nailed it. Guys, we're doing great. We're doing really well. I'm very proud of us. Wonder if I hold on. No. Guys, you hear a reggae horn? You did! Exciting, y'all. That is a really long cheer. Way long. Alright, so that's closed. Let's head back to the issues. Alright, set up CI/CD, and you can see, like, I've already done this before, but we're gonna pretend I haven't, y'all. Alright, CI/CD stands for continuous iteration, continuous development, or continuous deployment. And it is a process by which you are changing code and iterating and making changes to a code base, and simultaneously having the ability to deploy it somewhere or to push it back to production. And GitLab has a very heavily automated set of how CI/CD works. So integration, like I said, works by pushing small changes to the code base in a Git repository. And for every push, it runs a pipeline full of scripts that builds, tests, and validates that code before it ends up merged into your main branch. So this is a way of making sure that the code you're writing doesn't break stuff, like a Limp Bizkit song. Delivery and deployment is deploying the application to production at every push to the default branch. Specifically, delivery is like setting it up for that, and then you manually push it. And deployment automatically does it. So to show you, go to Divas. I have the CI/CD set up on Divas. And if we go to the editor, so your CI/CD is written in YAML, which is not yet another markup language. And the first thing we do is we declare an image to use, and I'm going to show you in the pipeline what all this looks like too. A couple scripts run to make sure that we've got everything updated and installed and everything's ready to do what it needs to do. I got all of this from an article that taught me how to do CI/CD to push to Heroku, where my divas are hosted. You declare stages at the beginning, and then you say what stage each job, like this is a job here, job called production. It's deploying, it's the stage of production, it's using a Ruby image, and then this script here pushes it to Heroku. And this is directly from Heroku about how to do it. When this runs, it only does it on the main branch. When this runs, so it reads an update to main. The pipeline runs. When it gets down to this job, it automatically pushes those changes to Heroku. And then on Heroku's end, it flips it around and pushes the code into there, and it runs it over there. And then you can tweet at ShaniaBot. Again, as far as I'm concerned, it's black magic. The ins and outs, not for me. So let me show you what those pipelines look like when they're running, and you'll see a bunch that have failed probably in the past. Oh, it's been doing pretty well. So it shows you all the pipelines that you've run in the past. So I've done some updates to the InSync JavaScript, to Shania, changed the date on some of them. And when you're looking at these pipelines, if you click here on the status, it pulls you into a visual, and it shows you the job. Remember, that job was called production. So we've got production here, and here's the full log for it. And it shows you everything that was happening. If there's an error, it'll tell you what's going on. You can see this is the script that pushes it to Heroku. And these keys are inside of Heroku. So these are variables that live at Heroku. It knows what the app is, and it knows what the API key is. There's to deploy. See, it's pushing, it says it's a node app detected. It creates a runtime environment. It puts all this stuff in, installs the binaries, builds it, build succeeded, you're good, and then it cleans it up and it says, hey, job done. Like I said, it's pretty dope. Thank you. Thank you. That's enough of that. So that's how that pipeline looks. So let's head back to the Learn GitLab project and let's see what they want us to do for CI/CD. You can watch a demo, you can read the docs. So it says, read the following documentation, how GitLab CI/CD works, pipeline architectures, basic workflow, and a step-by-step guide. When you're ready, select CI/CD and start setting up the CI/CD in your project. So because this project and the issues are telling you to go and set up CI/CD in another project. So it's kind of this cool parallel thing where This project helps you learn while you're setting up another project. So to make, let's say, what did I just import? Oh, that fake hello world. Let's say I needed to set up CI/CD. Ah, thank you, I have a follow, and everyone gets to see my GIF. I forgot I set that up. Let's show that again. There I am. So handsome. So terrible. Okay, so there's a bunch of options up at the top. Adding a license, change log, contributing, etc., etc. Thank you, Adrian. How are you not following me already, Adrian? Come on. Or did you unfollow and follow again just to do that? Oh man, this still says master 2. This is old. I made this back in a million years ago. So all I did there was from the main project page, leave. There's a button for setup CI/CD, just a quick action here. And if you create a new pipeline, it just automatically makes the file that you need for it, which is called .gitlab-ci.yml. You can see it's a template. It obviously, if you're throwing a template down, you got to make sure to check and see if it needs to change anything before it runs for your project. You can see that it's got some information about what this is. So first you declare your stages, build, test, deploy. You create a job that you can name almost anything. So you're like, this is called build job. Its stage is build. The script, and it just has 2 echoes, just says those things. Unit test job, echo, running tests, sleeps for 60 seconds, and then another echo. A lint, you can run lint in your CI/CD. And then you can deploy it. And this is something it'll run because it's just a bunch of echoes, which is fun. So yeah, I'm gonna keep this. I'm gonna say created GitLab CI/YML file and commit that. And then it's going to run that pipeline, which is so it says, hey, this pipeline's running. You can click into it, and it shows you your jobs, each individual job under an individual stage, right? So you can see build job is completed. When we click into it, find that echo. Yeah, echo compiling the code. Compile complete. Obviously, it's not really doing anything. It's just an echo. But you'll see up here at the top it says running with GitLab Runner 14.1.0 RCL and then a bunch of numbers. Yeah, again, Adrian, this I imported from GitHub. I'm going to show you when I made this, actually. It's literally the first thing I ever did on GitHub back in June. May 23rd, 2020. I didn't know what a branch was. I had no idea what a branch was. Like, my friend was like, yeah, just use GitHub. I was like, okay. So when I imported it, it kept that. But I can change it very easily. This wasn't going to because this isn't a real... It's not a real repo. Let me fix this. Yeah, I bet. That muscle memory is something else. Like when you're like ready to go, it's like oh, no. So let's take main. Need to go to project settings. Default branch. Bind. So So default branch is now main. We can head to branches. We can delete master. Deleted. What is this? A year ago. Oh wow, I must have made a branch back in the day. Out of here. Alright. So CI/CD pipeline. So because I made a new branch, it automatically runs the pipeline again. And like I said before, it's just a bunch of echoes. So it's not actually doing anything. But the GitLab runner is something I did want to talk about. Our CI/CD only works with what are called GitLab runners, which are written in Go. And they essentially take your YAML and make it work. You have to have a runner. This is using what's called a shared runner. That just means it exists and kind of everyone on GitLab.com has access to it. So if they're really busy, I mean, there's tons of them, but if they're busy, your job takes a little longer. So let's say you've got a big company and you want to use GitLab, but you're like, well, we don't want to use the shared runners necessarily. Also, we want to make sure that our runners are perfectly optimized for our work. Well, you can make your own runner. And I was actually doing this last night. I was practicing CI/CD and I was making runners on my machine. And you can actually, let me pull up my terminal. I was like, that's such a small terminal. Let me see. GitLab runner. There's just a status. Yeah. And I started a few GitLab runners on here. And if I do a list, it'll show you. So I have one with a default description, and one with the tags, and one for CI/CD certification. I was basically making these as part of practicing learning GitLab last night. That process for making your own runners is well documented, but you have to have a runner and a .gitlab-ci.yml file in order to do CI/CD. You can see it uses a lot of Docker images, runs everything inside of that, and then just does its thing. So that's CI/CD. Let's go back to Learn GitLab. We can mark that issue as closed. Oh, actually, no. This is a good time for the Kanban. Go to boards. We've got set up CI/CD. Moving that over here. That's closed now. And if you click into it, you'll see it's no longer there. So if you move it on the Kanban board, it automatically closes it for you, which is great. First, merge requests. Like I said earlier, GitLab, we call them merge requests. You might know them as pull requests. We see it as you're asking for something to be merged into the main code. So this lets you visualize and collaborate on proposed changes to source code that exists as commits on a given Git branch. Yeah, lets you see what you're trying to do. So if you go to projects, you can create a merge request. So I'm going to, let's do this in Divas. So I'll just do it with the README because I'm not trying to change anything crazy today. So let's head into Web IDE. And one of the cool things we have, by the way, is I've integrated with GitPod, which is something available to people with GitLab.com. GitPod creates Visual Studio Code directly in the browser. And this is fully integrated with GitLab. And now I can work with VS Code directly in my browser. And I never have to pull anything locally. And so I don't have to worry about pushing and pulling and fetching and all that. It's just right in VS Code right here. You can see it gives me a unique URL up here. And here's all of my Diva stuff right there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Then I said I wanted to mess with the README. Should tag Chloe here. That's what I'll do. I'll tag our Twitters. Do that. So let's. Water. And let's add my Twitter. And Vane. I always do that. Metzen Aronid. Okay. So I have done that here in GitPod, which is again just VS Code instance right in my browser. I'm still on Edge. And let's head to the Git and we'll see that there are changes to README. Stage changes. So this to commit on main, but I don't want to commit on main. I want to commit to a new branch. Let's see, commit. Stage, no. So checkout 2. Let's create a new branch called changed README. Let's do DJM README change. There we go. All right, so now here I am. I'm on the new branch because I did all this in GitPod, which is VS Code. I'm on the new branch. I've got the stage changes here. I'm gonna commit my message. Changed README to add Twitter account for Chloe and PJ. Oh, 4 characters over. Oh, that's right. The message has to be short. Added Twitter links. There we go. I can go ahead and commit that. So that's committed now, and I can push it. And so you'll notice I created the branch here in GitPod. Technically, there's no upstream for it. It's like, hey, that doesn't exist in the repository. Would you like to publish it? And so it gives you that option to go ahead and do that, just like in VS Code. Just like, I mean, it's VS Code, y'all. Like, this is. All right. All of that's there. We are in this. We can head back. Diva's live. Gonna refresh this just to be sure. DJM README change. And here's the branch. And you'll see right here, we've got a link to my Twitter. And we've got a link to Chloe's Twitter. Ta-da! All right. So I've updated that. I've got a branch and we need a merge request. So we've got the branch, we need to ask to merge it. So we've got the source branch is gonna be DJM README. Target branch is main. Title, this is a big one. Inside the description, you should always put why you're doing it. Always saying why is just, it's a really good idea because that way the person who's doing the merge request for you, who's actually merging them together, knows why you made it. Don't just tell me what you did, tell me why you did it, because we need some reasoning. We can't just merge everything in. Telling us why helps us move that along a lot faster. Okay, you can assign it to whoever is responsible for merging it. You can delete the source branch once you're doing it. You create the merge request. This is what the merge request looks like. It tells you what's going into what. It says approval is optional. You can ask for people to approve. And then finally, if you're able to merge, you can do this, and you're going to see that I'm able to because I'm the only person on this project. I click merge, and it's merged. And then the source branch gets deleted. There's no pipeline because I deleted it.